What you need to do is really start questioning, where did this come from? Where did this belief come from? Why do I believe in it so strongly? Where did it go from? And then you want to ask yourself a couple of questions. You really think about it, it comes from our culture, or what someone might call culturescape. Or what you really want to think about is certain things that you thought of, at one time in your life, now you don't think the same. I always love using the analogy because almost everyone can relate to this, but when you're younger, your uncles, your aunts, maybe your relatives are in a position where they tease you about having a girlfriend or a boyfriend. And if you notice young kids, they always go, listen, ick, ucky, I don't want to catch cooties. It's like the thought in our mind of actually kissing another human being that's not our mom or our dad is the most repulsive thing on the planet. It's like you could actually get germs or something could actually happen to you, and it changes your whole mind. Well, of course, as you grow up, you finally have that kiss that's not only uncomfortable and you're like, what's this big deal? And you're nervous and it just didn't go right. And you're going, man, I don't see what the deal is. And then all of a sudden you have that kiss that rocks your world. And when you have that kiss and the connection happens and everything works right, isn't it amazing? You spend the rest of your life trying to figure out how to do that. He's like, so one of the things that's unique about learning this is you'll find out in other cultures that they think totally different. I love hearing the way other cultures are brought up because the way they think is totally different than the way you think. And what you got to understand is what limiting beliefs, what do you believe? What was you growing up with? This has to do with your spiritual beliefs, your cultures, your background, your nationality, your color, your age. All these things are where we find those beliefs. And it's amazing that we know today that wars happen because someone is so passionate about their belief and what they believe in, right? So you want to sort of start getting to a place in life when you want to be successful and happy. The key to happiness, the key to success is how you believe about certain things. And what you need to do is really start questioning, where did this come from? Where did this belief come from? Why do I believe in it so strongly? Where did it go from? And then you want to ask yourself a couple of questions. Now, when I first asked myself these questions, it rocked my world. When someone smarter than me, that made more money than me and happier than me, started asking me that key question that I love training on all the time is, how do you know that? How do you know that? And when you go, well, I know it because whatever. And I'll give you a couple examples that I've heard. Recently, I read a book that gave me some others, and I'll share a few of them with you. One of the things is, first story I heard was on a TED Talk, and it was about a guy that actually went over to China. And what he did is he was looking for an address. So he had the address to the place, and when he was looking for it, the taxi cab dropped him off on the block where the address was. So then what he did is he started walking from building to building and he couldn't find the address. So then what he did is he turned around and said to the guy, listen, he talked and through translation, he said, where is it? And the guy goes, it's on the other side of the block. And he goes, what do you mean? Because in the United States, what we do is we use streets, First Street, Second Street, Third Street, and then usually you start from the center of the town or the city and you work your way out. So of course, Main Street's in the center, right? And you work first, second, and you work out, right? So then if you use an address that is 1235, then guess what? That's up probably on the 12th Street, 1200, 500 would be on 500 Street. Well, in China, the way the cities are developed is they name the blocks by number. It's block 1. So that was the first block that was built in downtown city. Guess what block 1, building 1 is? The first building that was built on that block. Guess what building 2 is? The second building. It might not be first, it might not be next to the first building. So building 1 can be on one side of the block and building 2 can be on the other side of the block. So you sit there and you think of that one thing that you grew up your whole entire life learning. on how to find an address, and you go to a different city, different culture, different upbringing, and you're lost. You are totally 1000% lost. You can't find it. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel comfortable. You don't even know the same language. You're totally lost. Well, this is what may be happening to you when you think about being raised in a culture that told you very simply, go to school, get an education, then go get a job and work hard. So now all of a sudden someone says, you know what? Have you ever thought about owning your own business? Have you ever thought about getting into marketing? Have you ever thought about, maybe going out there and being an entrepreneur? Guess what? You're lost. All of a sudden, you're not thinking right. You're not thinking as a business owner in marketing. You're thinking as a consumer. As a consumer. So what you do is you try to get in business, and the first thing you do is you try to market your product. Why? Because you buy things. You're a consumer. You've been a consumer your whole life. So then what you do is you send out your link for your product to everyone, and everyone ignores you. Why? Because people don't like to be sold. See, people like to buy things, but they don't like to be sold. So as you become an entrepreneur, I think that you really need to understand that it's a different language. It's a different way of thinking. You're doing things different. Like the first time that I got in marketing, to give you another great example, is people don't know or like you until they trust you, right? So there's 3 reasons that people buy, and you guys all know this. People buy because they want or need something. Duh. Second reason we buy something is because of what it costs. See, some people like buying Toyotas, some people like buying Rolls Royces. So there's a cost, a want, and a need. But the last one is trust. Have you ever been in a situation where you walked into a store and without a shadow of a doubt, you went there to buy that suit, that pair of shoes, or maybe a loaf of bread or whatever? And then you go in there and you end up talking to somebody that's got to be about the worst salesperson on the planet. They turn around and turn you off. You might even get so upset that you turn around and you leave the place when you went there with the intentions to buy, but your mind goes, I'm sure in the hell not buying from this person. Because they were rude, they wasn't listening to you, they wasn't paying attention to you. And that brings that saying up that people don't care what you know unless they know that you care. So you got to come from a different way of thinking. You got to start saying, listen, it's not about me. In fact, they don't care about you. I know you might be shocked by that, but they don't care about you. They care about their needs. They care about being served. They care about getting what they want. So the only way that you can build trust is through reciprocity, which means that you got to give and give and give and give. And when you turn around and you give them information like this video and you learn something from it and it makes you just think a little bit different, and you went, wow, I didn't think about that. So now what you do is when you first reach out to somebody, what if it's about you serving them? What if you never ever talked about you? What if you listened more? Listened more. God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. So what if you listened more instead of talked? What if you asked questions and listened? See, when you learn this one thing, then all of a sudden people go, my God, that person's the coolest person in the world. And all you did is let them talk more than you talked. When you know people that are on the wrong place and they're lost, is they go, listen, let me tell you why I'm doing this. Let me tell you how great the product is. Let me tell you how great the company is. Let me tell you how great the comp line is. Let me tell you, and people are going like, they don't give a rip about me. They're not listening to me. They're not asking. People always pitch me all the time. And when they pitch me, they'll write this long letter or an email or a chat in Facebook with their link. Well, I know immediately when I click on it and see that long thing, A, I don't read it. B, I know it's spam. It upsets me. It sort of offends me. And I'm sure in the hell not clicking on their link. Is that you? See, that's you looking for an address in China. You're lost and you think that it works. It's offensive and people get upset. They unfriend you. You get no results. So then you know what you think that you can say to people? You think you can turn around and say, I've tried that marketing thing and it doesn't work. No, you didn't talk to someone in China that grew up there, that knew the culture and said, hey, no problem. See, they grew up there their whole life. You said, listen, I need to go to block 22, building 4. And they go, I know exactly where that is. You get picked up from the airport, it takes you directly there. Why? Because they grew up there. If you're not an entrepreneur, and you never built a business, you never built a loyal, satisfied customer base, you got to learn the language. And so I want to leave you with this, is I know you can learn the language. Just like you could learn the addresses in China, just like you've learned to tie your shoes, just like you've learned to be able to kiss, hopefully. You can learn this marketing too. So I just wanted to do a quick video talking about limiting beliefs. Really ask yourself, where are these things coming from? Because bottom line, I used to say the same stuff that maybe you say. You know, this is not for me. I'm not a people person. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't like sales. See, I used to say a bunch of can'ts and I don'ts because I didn't take the time to learn from people who did. I know you can do this because I learned to do it. I've taught thousands of people how to do it, and you got to learn the language, get rid of the limiting beliefs, learn the new language, and you too will get results. Take care and God bless. Thank you very much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you could please do me a huge favor and share it, even like it, I'd really appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and have a very, very, very blessed day.